Okay, got to get out of the way for the camera, but go ahead and break in there. Come on. Ah! Two of my best. Yo, what's up, guys? All right, so today I'm going to do my practice on wedges up at the Saticoy Club. I decided, because it's a very windy day today, blowing up to 40-mile-per-hour gusts, it's not going to do me much good to sit on the range. So I'm going to get on the golf course, find different wind directions, different yardages, different pin locations, make it as random as I can, and make it simulate a round of golf. It's great to do block practice in the simulation bay. It's great to do it on the range, but you also got to mix it up and get some real-life experience when you're on the golf course. So that's going to be the focus of today. Let's get to it. All right, so we're going to have a 105-yard shot, we're going to have a 90-yard shot, and an 85-yard shot to start. Very good start. Go in. Break in there. Oof. Okay, got to get out of the way for the camera, but go ahead and break in there. Come on. Ah! Two of my best. Another good one. Try and get out of your way. I mean, I'm not going to do better than those 3 shots. As good as I got. Well, guys, I don't think we're going to see better than that today. So, proximity total is maybe 4 to 5 feet. And as always, make sure you fix your pitch marks. All right, so our first shot on hole number 2 is 140 yards, but downwind left to right. So I'm going to play at 130. I'm going to aim left and let the wind try and take it in there. Okay, hit it real nice, hoping the wind brings it. Yep, there comes the wind. Not quite enough stick, pretty good shot though. All right, on this shot we got 122. Gonna try and hit the same shot. Gonna play at about 115 on this one because of the downwind, but still definitely keeping it up the left. Okay, another good strike. We'll see if it's the distance. Okay, just a little short again, pretty happy though. All right, we got 125 in the wind. Gonna play about 135. False front, terrible miss to the right. So I'm gonna try and leave this thing as close to pin high and left as I can and try and flight it low. So 125, 135 shot. I'm gonna try and chip a little pitching wedge in there low. Okay, I love the line. I did get back there. And I left it short like I said not to. So watch this. This thing's gonna come all the way off, which is so important to know your number, because now I'm gonna have a really hard up and down, all because I didn't hit my number there. All right, so up here we have 110. I'm gonna make an adjustment, call it like 125 because I came up short on the other one. And let's see if we can hit the same shot, just more pin high would be ideal this time. So a little more flighted, a little bit more solid, and that's gonna stay up there almost pin high, just barely short, but good. All right, so now we have a 130-yard shot downwind. Gonna go straight at it, gonna call it 120 yards, all said and done. So I got my gap wedge here, which is about 10 to 13 yards I'm gonna take off. Okay, hit it real nice, right at it. Good distance, 10, 15 feet. All right, now we got 83 yards, again downwind. I'm gonna call it closer to 78, 80 yards. I'm gonna try and fly it almost pin high and hopefully put a little spin on it if I hit it correctly. Oh, I hit that really, really nice. Little short, but skipped up, spun, probably 5 feet, really good shot. All right, so on this set, we got 133, 121, and then 109. Again, into the breeze, green sloping back to front. So on this shot, I'm gonna play it closer to 145 flighted, see how it goes. Ooh, I like that. Love everything about that. Okay, another good flighted one in there. Really happy with that. Okay, that one didn't love it as much, but I think I'm gonna get away with it. Just barely. Off the front of the green, but acceptable miss. Not good, but could be worse. All right, so on this shot, I got 137, 123, and 112 up the hill into the wind. And there's a false front, so I wanna make sure I get it there as best I can. Otherwise, we're gonna see that ball come off the green. At 137 yards, it's really breezy right now. I'm gonna call this thing almost 155 even flighted. So I'm gonna hit a low 9-iron and see if I can chase one in there that just sits and stops. Okay, hit it well, just left of the flag. Get over it. Didn't cover, so even with all that extra club, I still need to hit harder. Okay, that's good. Again, just left the flag. I hit it harder this time. Covered, sat soft, and it's not coming back, so that's good. All right, hit a little fat, which has been common with the end of the wind shots. Came up short, and that's just not very good. All right, so now we have 114 yards, 100 yards, and 88 yards. Now on this one, again, into the wind, this is the biggest false front of them all. I'm gonna go straight at this pin. The real play is to keep it right, but this is built like a bicycle saddle, kind of wide in the back right, and it gets very narrow and pinchy on the left, which is where the pin is. So I have to be perfectly pin high. So I got 114. I'm gonna aim for 132 yards, I'm gonna guess, with this wind. See how well it goes. I'm gonna try and land it just short of the pin and skip it up and then have it stop. That would be in a perfect world, and that's what's going on here. Okay, had the flight, but I shoved it really hard right. And if you guys can't see it, it's short and to the right, and that is probably gonna come off the green or at least come back a little bit. So peep the ball, still coming down off the green, still rolling. That's how crazy that false front is. Got to cover, very important. Go. Nope, didn't hit hard enough again. This one's gonna come screaming off the front. Painful to watch. All right, 88 yards, last shot of redemption. Let's make sure we hit this thing hard enough. I've come up short twice. Let's make sure it's not a third time. Okay, flighted, punchy, driving it up. Really nice shot. That's exactly what I would like to see on this one. All right, so on this set, we got 90 yards, we got 82 yards, and we got 72 yards. Downhill lie, front pin, downwind, which means we got to clip this thing perfectly and not get too cute. Very easy with downwind. My ball gets knocked down because the wind's shoving it down and you don't cover the distance. And with a front pin and kind of a false front, you don't get there, it's not gonna skip up. So I'm gonna make sure I try and hit it with plenty of height. I'm gonna try and fly it at least pin high. If I happen to have some spin, cool. But the goal is at least pin high with some height, then see how it goes. Okay, tugged it a little bit left, but it's gonna fly the distance. It might have some spin. Yep, spun well. About 20 feet long left. Not great, not terrible. I think I got too cute, like I said, not to do. And that's the shot you don't want. I don't want to have to hit this club again. All right, let's see if I'm stubborn, if I can learn. Again, let's make sure we hit this thing clean. We get it all the way there, not getting too cute. Okay, tugged it a little bit, but hit it solid. And that was just a very, very nice shot. All right, final shot. We got 103 yards here up the hill, downwind right to left. And we're gonna try and land this thing a little bit short right and let it kind of feed in there. That would be the ideal. Okay, kind of worked, kind of hit that bush in front of me, knocked it down, landed short, ran up. In some weird way, kind of worked out. I actually felt like I hit a decent shot, but really got deflected, so should have hit a higher shot. All right, let's go ahead and review what just happened. So clearly there were some different things than normal. On the golf course, hitting off grass, which is nice. Luckily, I have access to the pit at Saticoy, so that's not totally novel, but it was very nice to have really good fresh grass. Second, having a bunch of different pin locations, some front, some back. Obviously, there's a lot of back to front sloping tiers at Saticoy, a lot of false fronts that we have to navigate, especially when there's Santa Ana winds in California. the wind blows down all those slopes. So if anything comes up short, it's definitely coming off the green because the wind's blowing it down that way. So you have to hit a flighted shot into the wind. It's slowing your ball down when you're trying to drive it in there, and you just have to have your numbers perfect. So that was a situation I haven't had in a while. It's normally not very breezy in Ventura. At the beach, it gets a little bit, but on the other side of town, it's pretty calm. It maybe blows 5 to 15 miles per hour at most. It's not blowing 25 with gusts up to 40. So definitely highlighted a lot of things in my game by getting on the golf course, different pins, different wind directions, different sloping greens, and some were better, some were worse. Definitely what stood out to me when I hit them, all the downwind shots, with the exception of 1 or 2, I hit pretty good. Hole 1, the first shot's in there. I mean, I stuffed them super tight. They were downwind, and it was actually a very tricky pin, kind of off a slope that feeds away from you, but I hit those great. Number 2, hit some really good shots in there as well. Number 3, turned into the wind, and I came up short off the green, and the second shot in there was not bad, but it definitely wasn't good. Hit both of them slightly fat when I hit them. Then number 4 got downwind, and I hit them great. Number 5 was into the wind. I actually hit those pretty good, but the third shot came up short off the green, so there was a little hiccup in there. Number 6, not my best representation. Hit 1 in the bunker, which actually felt solid, just pulled it a little bit, but hit in the bunker. Next one was pin high up there really nicely. Third one, terrible shot, short of the green into the right. Number 7, again into the wind, came up short, The next one I drove in there very low and skipped it in there nicely, but again, only hit 1 out of 3 nicely, otherwise I'm fighting for pars. Hole 8 was downwind, but that's kind of a tricky situation. It's a downhill lie, ball below your feet, downwind, close to the green with a front pin. Like, everything is begging you to get too cute and not have good contact with the golf ball and slide underneath it, which is exactly what I did on that second shot. First one was okay, was not great, not terrible. Would have been a respectable shot. Third shot was very, very good, but that second shot was not great. So again, when I get to an adverse lie or I get to an adverse situation, which was into the wind most of the day, those were my worst shots. And number 9, again, I thought I actually hit a very good shot. Hit my ball too close to the bushes when I set my ball there. Didn't hit up fast enough. A little bit of an accounting error there for what was in front of me, but made a solid contact shot. So what does that tell me? First off, into the wind's always going to be harder. Roughly speaking, if you have the same amount of wind, let's call it 20 miles per hour, however much it's going to hurt you twice as hard if you flipped around in the exact opposite direction and hit it downwind. So if a shot's going to cost you roughly 20 yards into the wind, it's only going to help you about 10 yards going downwind. Now that depends on how far you hit it and how long the ball is going to hang in the air and all that stuff, and how high you hit it. But roughly speaking, that's a good place to start. So when you're thinking about hitting into the wind, just understand it's going to affect you at least twice as much for that reason. Also, when we hit into the wind, it acts as an umbrella. It branches out and blows your ball sideways, whether it's shooting up, it's slicing it more to the right, hooking it more to the left. However it's getting offline, it's going to just balloon an umbrella more in that direction, versus whenever you have downwind, it's a tunnel. If you're starting to miss it to the right, it's going to buffer it like a bumper lane in bowling. Same thing when you pull it to the left. But where it does get hard is it becomes a ceiling or a roof. If your ball is trying to climb up, it's going to bat it down and knock it low out of the air. Now, I was hitting wedges all day, so that's not going to affect me too much. I could still get some height. I can still get enough spin. The ball is not going to really get away from me unless it was very, very firm conditions. But you start getting to a mid iron, a long iron, wood, that ball is going to start coming in very low, and it's going to chase the back of the green. Oftentimes, when we hit the ball further with downwind, it's because the ball is only going to carry a few extra yards, maybe sometimes it doesn't even carry further, but normally you only get a few extra yards of carry, and then it's all from rollout. That ball hits, and it maintains its speed, and it just rolls. Also, again, that ball, instead of climbing up high and landing with a very steep descent angle, flattens out and comes in with a lot of driving force, which is why it doesn't carry a lot further, but it never loses its speed. It has a very sharp land angle, and it just wants to bounce and roll. So understand, if you think your ball is going to go 10 yards further, it's probably only going to go 3 or 4 yards further in the air, depending on the club, but it's going to go 6 or 7 yards further based on rollout. So if you're trying to get over water, or if you're trying to get over a bunker or whatever it is, make sure you understand that 10 yards is not all in the air. A lot of that's going to be on the ground, because if you don't account for that, well, you might hit one in that bunker or in the water, even with a good shot, just because it might have gone your distance, just not the exact way we normally think. So that was definitely something that stood out today. So what I take away from it for my own personal game is I definitely have to work on more on the core stuff. I thought I did pretty good with that overall, but really I have to work on into the wind. I have to find as much angle into the wind as I can, because clearly my range of dispersion got way worse. But also I started to introduce fat shots. And that doesn't surprise me one bit, because when I was up there, I was uncomfortable. I was worried about hitting him more sideways because, again, an umbrella's off. I definitely had those thoughts in my mind. I definitely didn't feel like I had a great sense of how far my ball was going to go. Didn't know if I was going to beat it through the wind long. Didn't know if I was going to come up short. And I just made very uncommitted swings. And this was in practice. This wasn't a tournament or anything crazy or playing for money. But I still made definitely uncommitted golf swings. So looking at that, I have to find a lot more into the wind shots to get more comfortable with it. That way I can make more committed swings, and my dispersion will get tighter, because obviously a free, committed, confident swing is way better than a hesitant, fearful, anxious swing. And again, it just introduced fat. I didn't really hit any fat shots, except for, I don't even know if I hit a fat shot downwind. I hit a couple bad ones, but I don't think I hit anything fat. But definitely into the wind, I'd say I was hitting half my shots fat or marginally fat, which obviously shows you there's a big difference that's going on upstairs. So again, all I can say is, as you add more variety to your practice, which is kind of the one silver lining I've done this entire time I've been making these videos. I've been hitting a lot of wedges in the series, but also I'm trying to do as many different things as I can, whether it's a 30 to 50 drill, a basket drill, hitting inside of the launch monitor, going on the golf course, whatever it is, covering trouble. I'm trying to make it as different as I possibly can, because I'm trying to expose myself as to many different situations as I possibly can, to see where my strengths are, see where my weaknesses are. And over time, again, I'm a big believer in the beginning, I want to lean into my strengths. I want to get those things as good as I can. I want to get my confidence up. But as I see more of my weaknesses start to repeat over and over again, that's going to tell me, put my focus there, put my time and energy there, because that's where the low-hanging fruit is. That's where improvement needs to be had. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously, Saticoy is incredibly beautiful, so it was definitely a nice setting to have some video on. But again, if you guys get a chance, luckily I'm at a course where it was blowing 40 today and not a lot of people were out there, so I had a chance to hit a lot of shots on the golf course during the daytime. But if you guys have a chance, real late in the evening, and it's not too busy and you have some time to drop a shot or two on a hole, take advantage of it. Now, try and fill your divots, try and fix your pitch marks for sure. Don't be that guy or girl. But make sure, if you have the opportunity, get out there, because seeing different pins, being exposed to different elements, different wind directions, different lie, uphill, downhill, whatever it is, it's just helpful. Again, I think it really exposed me today. And again, if I was on the driving range, or if I was in the hitting bay, well, I wouldn't have learned how uncomfortable I was hitting into the wind, or especially when there was false fronts and I felt like I had to be extra perfect. So whatever it is, diversify your practice, get on the golf course. The more you can do that, it's just going to put a mirror on what you need to work on.